This is yellow belt, 9th Kyu. This is going to continue on from where Mukyu left off. So if you haven't watched the first video, Mukyu, you should go back and watch it before watching this one here. And for the students of the Academy, this is going to take you through some of the basic forms that you can practice every day. It's going to teach you how to do some strikes. It's also going to introduce you to the sword. And we're going to learn some postures, kamais, blocks, and strikes. So this is Kyu of the United States Ninpo Academy's curriculum. Thank you very much. The first section in Kyu is called the Go Gyo no Kata. It's also referred to as the Son Shin, but I believe that the Go Gyo no Kata should be the proper way of saying it. Go simply means 5, and we're talking about the 5 elements: Chi, Sui, Ka, Fu, Ku. And then Gyo, Go Gyo. Gyo means to do something in a row, something that is connected, something that is joined. So it's not an individual movement and a secondary individual movement. These movements are connected. Go Gyo no Kata, kata meaning of some type of a pattern. So we're going to look at the elements, and this is a big part. This is kind of a starting point to get you familiar with different ways of moving. My understanding of the Go Gyo no Kata is that it's something that Takamatsu Sensei taught Hatsumi Sensei to practice because he's trained with him on the weekends for many, many years. And in the time between the training, he wanted him to learn the basic fundamental movements of Ninpo Taijutsu. So the Go Gyo no Kata was created by Takamatsu Sensei, passed down to Hatsumi Sensei, where he has shared it with the rest of us. So if it was good enough for Takamatsu Sensei, I believe it's something that we should pay attention to. This is a drill. This is an exercise. It does teach you some combat skills, but the most important thing is going to teach you how to move continuously. It's going to teach you a flow. It's going to teach you a balance. It's going to teach you the proper way to shift your weight. These things are very important moving forward. So the Go Gyo no Kata starts off with something that's very similar to Bobi no Kamae. And I've actually heard it being called Son Shin no Kamae. But Bobi no Kamae is basically the starting point. So being in this posture here, with your hand pointing forward and a fist back at your hip, and your legs kind of in an Ichimonji position here. Chi no Kata, which is earth, is the first one. And you're going to step back with the front foot as you strike forward with a 3-finger strike. Right? This strike is called a shitanken. It's basically your index, middle, and ring finger, and your thumb and pinky are connected. And this is striking up. And you want to come about eye level when you come up here. You want your knee to shift forward until it's over top of your toes. That's the full extension here. And then as you rock back to kamae, you're going to bring this foot back and strike again, back. So it's just this rocking motion, forward and back, forward and back, forward and back. Making sure that when you come forward, the right hand and right leg are coming together. So I'm stepping backwards and stepping forward. Stepping backwards and stepping forward, right? So it has this kind of flow when you're doing it. This backhand is dropping back some, right? So it's coming back and it has this swinging motion. It's very natural swinging motion as you strike and back, strike and back. It also has the feeling of maybe you're throwing something, or you have to get used to being able to strike with a very natural walking motion. So this is learning to be very natural and swinging with your hands, right? But just a couple times each side. Each, ni, son, shi, go, rok, sich, hutch, ku, ju. Next is Sui no Kata. Sui no Kata is like water. So it's going to be done with a Jodan Uke and an Omote Shuto. So from Kamae, we're going to make sure that we're going to make a 45 degrees, stepping off 45 degrees, and then Jodan Uke, right? 45 degrees Jodan Uke. From here, I'm going to step back with my leg and come forward almost into Jumonji. and then strike with Omote Shuto as this hand pulls back, knee over top the toes. From here, rocking back to Kamae to repeat on the other side, all right? So we have to have this situation again where the foot is stepping backwards, and then with my attacking side, my body, my hip is coming forward, right? So it's very unnormal in Ninpo, or in many martial arts, to be stepping forward with your left side and striking with your right. The majority of it is going to be stepping with your whole body weight. That's a good principle in Ninpo Taijutsu. So this technique of Suino Kata is teaching us that. Like a wave, it's teaching us to go back. And then like coming forward. So it has this rolling, striking. Like the tide going backwards, building, and striking. So from Kamae, here, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And again, look for that Jumonji in the middle there. It's kind of hidden. Here, boom, each, knee, some, shi, go, rope, each, hutch, hu, ju. 1, 2, 3, 4, or each, knee, some, shi, go, rope, each, hutch, ku, ju. Suino Kata. Next is the element of fire. This is going to be very similar. Jodanuke, this time here for Ura Shuto. Again, pulling, hitting. Right? Jodan, strike. Jodan, strike. The strike, as always with Ura Shuto, should not generally be straight or up. I prefer it to be slightly down. And I know that's counterintuitive for the draw being up. But when you strike up, if someone ducks, they're able to come underneath of it. When you strike in a downward motion, if they drop, you can drop with yourself. So it's harder for them to escape the Ura Shuto as a self-defense technique. So circle Jodan, Ura Shuto. So Omote is coming from the outside. Ura is coming from the inside. And that's the difference here. So we have 1, 2, back. 1, 2, back. Again, this shifting here, back. The shifting is important, right? So here, each, knee, so, shi, go, rope, seach, hutch, ku, ju. Right? Here, pull. Here, pull. Striking here. Right? Each knee, come on. Each knee, come on. Ka, no kata. Next is fu no kata. Fu no kata is the element of the wind. Over the years, I have seen this done a few different ways, and I just want to talk about that a little bit. When you train in a martial art like Ninpo, Ninpo is alive. It is evolving. It is immortal in some ways. So in some systems, there's a set way, and they honor that tradition, and they're very loyal to that set way. And there's a lot of knowledge to be gained in the perfection of that set way. In Ninpo, a little differently, we're learning a principle, a law, something that principle or that law will not change. The physical movements may differ. Some winters is colder than others, some summers is hotter than others. And there's this cycle, but it stays consistent throughout history. And Ninpo is the same way. Some years things change. They change from teacher to teacher, from master to master. But there's this baseline, and that baseline of purity is what must be protected. So I'm going to show you two ways to do Funo Kata. One with a Shikan Ken and a little bit more of a pulling posture. The second with a Boshi Ken. And I know this confuses students, especially lower students. Many times they say, please just tell me how you want to see it done. Please just tell me one way. Which way is right? Is it this way or that way? You showed me 7 different ways, Sensei. Which way do you want to see it? Well, which way do you know it? How can you do it? I've showed you many different ways. Well, which one can you do? Which one suits your personality, your style? The greatest gift, I've said many times, is, none of us, especially in America, have to pretend or think that, we're going to be the next grandmaster, the next soke. That's not our responsibility to make this martial art perfect. Our obligation to ourselves and to the students is to be able to teach them things that make them better human beings. Not only better martial artists, not only better at self-defense, but all of that should calculate into them being a better person. So it's a lot of times, a lot of people stress about this person's right, this person's wrong, it needs to be done this way, this guy's a fool, this would never work. Just train and just learn. And if you find something helpful, use it. If you don't think it's helpful, sometimes don't forget it, because I've been training a long time, and things that I learned 25, 30 years ago, I'm finally starting to understand now. I'm understanding how important they are now. Even though I was introduced to them and I thought I understood them, it's really after traveling and learning and training and having tons of students and tons of instructors and being around grandmasters and just hearing certain things over and over and over, or seeing something sometimes for the first time, but it's something you've seen 1,000 times. But that day, it was the first time you really, really understood it. So even in my videos, if you watch all of them, there's hidden seeds and treasures throughout every video. But so with that being said, these are two ways that you can practice. They both have their merits, and they're a great way to do this kata, Funo Kata, which is wind. From the Kamae again, the first one, of the Shikan Ken, the main difference is on the Geidan, the lower block, we're going to step, and it's going to be a hook. And we're going to try to pull a little bit of maybe an upward motion. This is for a low strike where we're trying to hit it out of the way, or perhaps it's going to be a kick where we're hitting it and knocking it out of the way. So it's not like I'm just coming down. I want to come and hook this. And as I do that, the backhand is going to drop. So it's going to be this hooking and swinging Shikan Ken. And from this posture here, the arms are going to come through each other and strike. Right? And the Shikan Ken is going to be up a little bit. So the Geidan has a slight lift, and the Shikan Ken is going to come from your hips up into the throat area. All right? So the target with this would be the Suigetsu, the sternum, where you can turn the fist and go into the throat. But that center Suigetsu, or Kage, is your target for that position strike. So from here, Geidan, strike, back. Geidan, strike. Geidan, strike. Geidan, strike. Geidan, strike. Geidan, strike. Come on. Geidan, strike. The second way is more of a traditional way of using a straight Geidan Uke. Either with the knuckles or with the pad of the hand. But some type of C where I'm blocking outside of my leg. 45 degrees, I'm blocking. And then from here, as I step back, now I'm going to strike with a Boshi Ken. A Boshi Ken is a conventional fist with the thumb on top. And then the knuckles are going to be slightly shifted. So the thumb is protruding. Now, A good interesting story about that is that in many cases, you can't take that small thumb tip and punch into hard surfaces. So this is much more of a touch pushing motion, a driving motion, penetrating motion. So more like a needle than like a hammer. Touch, push on this here. So when I mean kamae, lock, strike, but it's touch, push. And back to kamae, lock, strike, lock, strike, lock, strike, lock, strike. And on the strike, don't extend too far where this becomes straight. Always keep it bent some. Allows you to push and pull and retract. Plus, if you have it straight, your opponent can come and you can break this. This is very damaging. If it's bent a little bit, you have more strength to protect that elbow. So across the board, in everything that I show you from here on out, there's nothing where you ever lock the elbows. The elbows always stay slightly bent. So for this one here, come on. 1, 2, back. 1, 2, each. So, chi, go, rock, sich, hutch, ku, ju. That is fu no kata. Next is ku no kata. Ku represents air or void. Some people, especially in the beginning stages, have a difficult time understanding that aspect. In the room you're standing in right now is air, but it's difficult to catch, it's difficult to see, it's even difficult to touch, but it's there. Like when something was to go and hit your hand and then it becomes gone. That's the essence that you're looking for with this. There's a part of the technique where there's a distraction. In Ninpo, the distraction side of it is referred to as Kenjutsu. Kenjutsu is kind of like deception. And what we're doing with this particular one, from kamae again, we're doing a low block. And that's going to again be from a low punch or a low stomach kick. So geidanuke. And then from there, we're going to shift our belly button and everything forward. The backhand is going to rise up. And as that rises up, this is going to pull back here. And this is a distraction, kind of a passive metsubushi. You want their eyes to look up. So you block here. And then 1 second behind the hand is a kick. And then back to kamae, right? From the side here, so it's lock, up, kick, and back. On the kick, it's important not to come up on your toes when you kick. If anything, dig your toes in slightly. Make sure your heel is on the ground. Your hips are down. Knees are bent. If you do those things, the ball of your foot and the heel won't come up. Keep that foot flat. Also, when you kick, don't have this foot turn any. Like you may see like on a roundhouse kick or something. Keep that foot straight. So hopefully you can see my feet. So 1, 2. This foot stays just like that. Toes are squeezed in. Hey, look up here. And when his eyes come up with that here, kick, and then step back to kamae, right? So there's 3 movements here. There's 1, 2, 3, and then back to kamae. And then you reverse it. 1, 2, 3, back to kamae, right? So it's each, ni, son, shi, go, rock, sich, hutch, ku, And in real life, you know, this would be quick. You know, you would block something in Metsubush. You could be throwing something into the eyes, using something to reflect. There's many principles. The number one principle is to get his attention. Make him aware of his hand. If a hand comes up and it's near my face, I'm going to be focused on it. And we want just a split second to be able to get that kick in there. All right? So that is Kuno Kata. Next is something called the Sanpo Kata. It's based off of 3 movements. The word Sanpo basically means the 3 laws. You'll see these movements in Gyokuru, and you'll also see them in Kotoru in the Kion sections of those scrolls. Basically, this is teaching how to move. In Gyokuru and Kotoru, they're done very differently. Gyokuru has more of a circular motion to it. Kotoru is very much linear with a little bit more of a forward feel to it. We're going to do for the Kyu system here, the Gyokuru version. So we're going to start with Ichimonji no Kamae, and we're going to talk about the Kamae since we're doing Gyokuru. The normal Kihon Ichimonji no Kamae looks like this here, which is Seigan no Kamae and other Ruhas. But we generally use this as the standard Ruha. And if you want to keep your life simple, you can do these patterns from that Kamae. Sticking a little bit more traditionally with Gyokuru, the Kamae for Gyokuru is a little differently. It's going to have a small angle on it and 50-50 with your weight. Gyokuru comes from China, so many of the Chinese aspects still exist in the Ruha, especially the circle formation of it. But the Kamae here is here. I want my hands to be about neck or eye level. I want them to be even. So I don't want them to be like this here or like this. Basically thinking about, as the hands come up, bringing them straight out and keeping them there and letting them fold back into Kamae. So I'm lifting some with this, right? And the dead point center to me is accessed by this. This is going to be a deflecting aspect of it. I don't want to leave any openings, so I'm here with the Kamae. When the attack comes in, I don't want to use a lot of big circle motions. I already have the hand kind of cocked to the side to get some energy with my hips and my body as my body shifts. So when the punch comes in, all I really need to do is turn and keeping these hands here. So it's just hitting. This hand stays right there. Once I hit, this stays here. Because now the Omote Shuto is next, but this hand doesn't move, right? And it ends up right here for me to go back to Kamae. So when I move and I hit, I'm staying in Kamae. Hit, Kamae. Hit, Kamae. And I'm trying to move around behind the opponent to hit him in the back of the neck. So if I'm here in Kamae, 1, 2, here, 1, 2. So it's moving, which I know is difficult. It would be much easier if we were just Jodan and Omote Shuto. But since this is actually part of a scroll, I want to introduce you to this movement now. Some people say, hey, a guy's only been trained a few months. This is stuff that you should wait. And there's probably truth in that. But at the same time, while I'm waiting for you to catch up, I need you practicing on these things so I don't have to wait longer. So that's my idea behind it. So you just basically step Here, bring the hands neck high, and then cross themselves. Hit, strike, come on. Hit, strike, come on. Hit, strike, come on. Right? Again, if you're more comfortable with it, go to regular kamae, regular chodan, regular mote shuto. Get used to that movement. Once you get that down, then you can start to move a little bit more freer with your kamae. Being able to just hit. There's a certain speed to it that's going to bring a reality to it. Once my hands are much more out of the way, here, I can use both. Hit, strike, hit, strike. And I'm in kamae. So there's an advantage to that. This is called Ichimonji, this pattern. Ichimonji no kata. 1, 2. 1, 2. Just turn, turn. And then from there, step back, step forward. Come on. Turn. Step back, step forward. Come on. Once you get it down, it should be 2 moves. 1, 2. So I'm going to step slightly forward with the first one. Forward again with the second one. Okay? So there's a transition here. Growing. Very basic, normal Ichimonji. 1, 2. 1, 2. Taking it to the next step. Getting more into the gyokuru feel of the kamae. 1, 2. 1, 2. Taking it to the next step. 1, 2. 1, 2. Not that it speeds up. It does, but I'm no longer moving back as much. I'm moving forward in a circle. So as the attack comes in, I'm spinning with the attack. And you're going to learn this again when we get into some of the bigger weapons like Rokushakubo and with the Kenjutsu. This movement's very important. So one more time so I don't confuse anyone. Basic level to start. 1, 2. 1, 2. Next level. Kamae. 1, 2. 1, 2. Third level. Moving forward. 1, 2. Here. 1, 2. Moving. Ichimonji. Jumonji. 8, 2, 8. 8, 2, 8. Jumonji. 8, 2, 8. 8, 2, 8. The second section of the Sanpo is Jumonji no Kata. Jumonji no Kata starts in Jumonji no Kamae. Jumonji no Kamae, stepping back kind of 45 degrees, weight down. Forward leg is my left. My left hand is in the front on an angle with the thumb about eye level. The other hand, the right leg is back, and the right hand is behind the left. And there's about a fist distance between my arms. So the arms are not touching. There's about a fist distance. It's important that the hands are on the same height, right? So they're not off. And they're not real wide. One fist away. So when I go back to Jumonji no Kamae, my leg is stepping back some, and my hands are going forward. Hantai, other side. So now my right foot is forward, meaning that my right hand is in front. My left foot is back. My left hand is behind. So I don't have my right foot back and my left hand in front, or my right hand in front. If my right foot is back, then my right hand is closest to my body. My left foot is forward. My left hand is going to be out in front, right? So whatever foot is in front, that hand is in front. So if my right foot is forward, then my right hand is out in front. If my left foot is forward, then my left hand is out in front. And I'm looking through the center, all right? So the feeling of Jumonji is to be able to drive back any attack, to be able to drive people away. So I'm driving them forward. So the technique, once I'm in kamae, is again moving with my body and turning. So it's not so much like a normal circle here, right? It's just hitting. From here, I'm going to step, touch, push, rise up to his eye level. And as I step back, keep it there until I reverse sides. Then I repeat. Block, touch, push, eyes, stepping back here. This kata is generally done what they call sayu. Right side, left side, in one after the other. Each, ni, so. Each, ni, so. You see the rocking motion. Back, forward, back, back, forward, back. Trying to make sure that I'm still in kamae the whole time. This hand is still in Jumonji. One hand is doing everything. From the block, touch, push, eyes is all done with one hand. The other hand stays in kamae. So this stays here as I hit, touch, push, kamae. Right? And then I'm going to rock my way back, and this is going to come over top and fall down into position. 1, 2, 3. Over top, down. 1, 2, 3. Over top, down. Each, ni, son. Each, ni, son. Right? Hit, touch, push, eyes. Hit, touch, push, eyes. This is the feeling of Jumonji. Push away. Stop. Come on. Hit, push away. Stop. Come on. So Jumonji is a very, I don't say aggressive, but it's a very forward thinking. This is much more where I'm going away. Jumonji is hitting, striking, eyes. Hitting, striking, eyes. And staying in posture. That is Jumonji no Kata. Hicho no Kata. Hey! Top! Hey! Ha! Hey! Top! Hey! Ha! Next is Hicho no Kata. Hicho no Kata starts in a kamae called Hicho no Kamae. Hicho no Kamae is like the Ichimonji, but the front leg is going to rise up onto the leg. You can place it on the calf, right? So the instep is going to go on the calf, or the instep is going to go onto the knee. There's no right or wrong. They're both correct. Whatever's more comfortable to you. One thing about this kamae, people see it, they see the kamae, and they're thinking, man, I would never fight that way. Well, in my opinion, you don't necessarily start in Hicho no Kamae. Hicho no Kamae is a transitional motion. Maybe I'm in this kamae, and a low attack is coming towards my leg. Either a roundhouse kick, could be a weapon. I need to get this leg out of the way. So from kamae, to maintain your balance, you're going to move your nose over top your toes. So just remember that. Anytime that you want to get your balance, bring your nose over top your toes and you'll have balance. If I just lift my leg up, I'm going to fall this way. So your body has to shift so your body is in line with whatever foot that you're going to use. If I'm going to go the other direction, my nose is going to go over top these toes, which now allows me to have my balance on this side, right? So even if I was going to do other kamais, I'm going to shift my balance and then bring my leg up. So it's very important, brush your teeth on one leg, do things every day on one leg, get yourself familiar with having that balance to be on one leg. Especially later on we get into the swords and different types of weapons, you're going to need to have the balance. But don't just lift your leg up. Make sure you're shifting your weight every time that you put yourself on one foot. Your weight is shifting. That's going to help you tremendously. So this kata here, someone's attacking low to your stomach. We're defending that. We're kicking, and then we're doing an ura shuto. So it kind of looks like this from the kama here. 1, 2, 3. Kama. 1. So you're moving yourself backwards. So you're shifting back and receiving this here. Boom. Kick, step, strike. Right? So I'm coming back. So don't throw your weight too much. Right? I see a lot of people throw their weight too much and they'll lose their balance. I've also seen people that kind of do the hunchback thing. They're like this. Don't do that either. Stay straight. Keep your chin up. Be proud. Think tall. Right? So when you move, you're staying in balance. Right? So I'm here. I'm just basically, the attack is coming in, and I'm just shifting my weight. Right? Shift. Shift. And then down block. Boom. And that clears an opening. Right? So that clears an opening. The front leg that touches is a foot that's going to kick with the heel. Right? With the heel. 1, 2, 3. See that there, right? 1, right? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And remember, that person is punched in, so we're blocking that. And there's the kick. Hicho no kata.
My name is Calvin Reed. I'm the head instructor of the Baltimore location of the United States Ninpo Academy. Today we're going to be going over some teiwaza or hand techniques. First one is going to be Omote Gyaku. Omote Gyaku is going to be an outside wrist twist or an outside wrist manipulation. I have another instructor here, Sensei George Harley, is going to help me out. All right, so he comes up and grabs. First thing is to cover and to put your left hand on bottom, right hand on top. Immediately rip and turn, hand in front of his face so he can't see what's going on. My left hand comes underneath as I step up and folding the wrist upon itself, creating pressure until he falls on his back, and then I release. Again, cover, turn, whip, cover. Now, as I do this, I also drop my weight. It's not just hand, it's all body. Keep pressure here. Next variation is going to be Omote and Ura Gyaku for my punch. So I'm going to be minding my business. My attacker is going to produce a punch, and I'm going to respond with Omote and Ura Gyaku. So again, natural posture. He comes in for a punch. Step off line, elbow to elbow, keeping control of the wrist. Hand to the face, and then down. Elbow to the ground. Push, he taps, and finish. Some key points are as he comes for the punch, offline, slight pull, elbow to elbow. That takes him off balance, creating pressure up and then down here. Keeping him on my plate, elbow to the ground, straight down, finish. Next technique is going to be Ura Gyaku, or inside wrist twist or inside wrist manipulation, turning the wrist on the inside of his body as opposed to the outside. Alright, so he grabs, cover, elbow on the inside, make sure I have room to block if necessary. Step off line, twist with my both hands, with my body as well, creating a lock. Palm is up to the sky, wrist is parallel to the deck. Turn this pinky towards his nose, that creates pressure. Using my weight and my elbow, driving him down to the ground, creating the lock. Finish, roll him away.
So the technique Happo Tenchi Tobi, the 8 laws of leaping. And I want you to take note that Tenchi is in the name. That means heavens and earth. So that encompasses our way of evasion from an attack, of all sorts, be it grab, punch, or sword. Now, some of the key points behind this is make sure that your knees are bent when you're in your kamae so that you'll be able to react. If your legs are straight and you go to step, your legs have to unlock first, then allow you to step. So at all times when you're getting ready to evade, your legs should have a slight bend in them from the side, which will allow you to step. So the key points behind Happo Tenchi Tobi is to make sure that your knees are bent. When you sense the attack coming, you do one initial step to go ahead and get your body offline and eyes on the uke. So now I'm going to go off at an angle real quick of the guy's coming in at me. I step this leg offline. My intent is still on him. My arms are in. If he had a sword and my arms are out, I'm likely to get an arm cut off. So from this stance, I come across, and then I'm getting ready to leap. This leg covers an additional 3 feet as I begin my first step. Boom. Now my leg is still in danger, so I have to move this one out. What I'm going to do is charge my body. See this little bit of a circle going on. So from this step, I use that circle, I load my weight, and then I shift and I throw my right leg across my body. Showing that one more time. Step, this leg comes across. And that brings my body out and away. So I see my uke, he's coming to cut. I step this line off, evade, my arms are in. I get ready to throw this across my body, and you see that circle, throw it, come out, and then what I want to do is go into another kamae. This is doko no kamae, in case the person has a sword, where we plant our arm down to stay away from them. If our arm's out, we may be inviting them to try and cut it off. So one other instance of Happo Tenchi Tobi is to deal with someone coming in for a grab and just getting an evasive maneuver. This will allow you to get shuriken or whatever other tool you may have on your body. So today I have with me Sensei Calvin, and he's going to be coming in for a grab. Onegaishimasu. Oh. So he has his forward momentum. Let's treat this as a street incident as well real quick, where he's going to full house come from my chest. I'll let him do it once. Good. And he's going to keep that pressure on. He got me. So take a few steps forward after you get it. Okay, good. Now, he's going to come in with that same intent. And all I have to do is that first step to get offline, throw that leg, get that distance, and stance. And that will give you almost 10 to 11 feet when done properly. This first step is 3 feet. Then once you throw this in there and you jump a little bit further, you will be halfway across the room. So it is a very effective technique. This is Happo Tenchi Tobi.
Greetings. Before we get started, let me introduce Bob. He is my training partner for today. The next section is going to be on kicks. They're called kiris, K-E-R-I, using the foot as a weapon. We're going to use 5 different kicks in this belt. We're going to focus on the first one, Sokuyakuken. Sokuyakuken is using the heel of the foot. We're thinking of that as a push, right? With most of the kicks in Ninpo, they're going to be a push using the thigh pushing forward. Not so much as like something coming from below and striking up. There is kicks like that, but the very basic ones are more like a push, all right? So my target here is going to be anywhere center mass to Bob for the start. You can start off by being just in Shizen, a natural standing position, and raising up your legs and kicking, which is a great way, but it's almost a little advanced because you need a little more flexibility to do that. Sometimes it's easier coming back to kamae. What I want to be able to do is, as I move forward with my kick, I want to take my hands and I want to transition them from Ichimonji to Hoko with my hands lightly clenched. This is protecting my head and my upper body. So they're going to go from 1, and my weight is going to shift, and the foot is going to come up, and I'm going to kick. All right? So it's basically like this. Each. Right? So maybe you can see better. Each. Knee. So. And you see how the heel is making contact. I would knock him down every time if I kicked him. So I'm just trying to touch. Or in some cases, even harder than kicking hard. But just kick. Right like that, right? using the heel and pushing. So bring the foot up, right? Here, 1, 2. If I don't bring the knee high, get the knee high, then I'm gonna end up kicking somewhere low. The only way to get that foot up is to get this side. Each knee. Go. You can tie that into blocks. Lock, kick, lock, kick, lock, kick, lock, kick, lock, kick. Using that heel of Soku Gyaku-ken. Next is Soku Gyaku-ken. Soku Gyaku-ken is with a Y. This is Soku Gyaku-ken as a GY. This is going to be using the ball of the foot. So it's very important with this one to pull the toes back as far as you can. So from Kamae, I'm going to bring my hands up, and this is going to be more of a go-rin or go-shin area around the belly button, kage, to the inside of the groin, the koe, or to the kinteki, which is the actual groin. So anywhere center mass there is going to be a target. And for now, the targeting or the cue shows, they're very important. But for now, we're trying to develop muscle memory, pulling your toes back, strengthening the ball of your foot, working on your balance, and learning how to push with your legs rather than thinking of something as a traditional kick, where it's just a snapping motion. We want a pushing motion here. So just kind of anywhere center mass when you're starting would be perfect. And you can wrap old pillows around a tree and tape them to a tree and use a tree like a heavy bag. You can use a heavy bag. You can use Bob. If you've got a great friend and he'll let him kick you all day long, that's perfect. But you need something that you can make contact with just enough lightly and then work your way up and up and up until you develop it, right? So from Kamae, again, bringing the hands up, kicking the ball of the foot. And you notice my toes are pulled back. So I'm kicking the toes. Again, it's here, pushing, 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 pushing. And again, don't lean back like, don't do this stuff. Just stay here. Boom. Just stay in Kamae. Boom. 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 Kicking with the ball of your foot. Soku Gyaku-ken. See there. Next is Sakushi-ken. Sakushi-ken is kicking with the toes of your foot, the actual digits of your toes. These bones are very small, so this is not kicking and pushing. This is for the first time more of like a flick. This is going into the groin area, maybe up into the throat, but the majority is actually going to the groin area. And this is using the toes to penetrate. So from Kamae, the same thing happens, but I'm actually coming forward with the toes. The toes are coming forward. They're bent down, squeezing them together, and there's tension in my feet. My toes and my feet are not relaxed. So I come forward and kick here. Kick. Kick. Up, out. Knee up, out. 1, 2. 1, 2. Hey. Hey. Jump. 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 Hey. Kicking with the toe in the front. Hey. 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 Sakushi. Next is Sakuto-ken. Using the word to, T-O, generally means like a blade. This is going to be using the edge, the outer edge of your foot. There's a couple ways to practice it with a partner, and I'm going to have those later, but these are just how to practice it on your own in the air. From Shizen, the attack is going to come forward, we're going to learn to move offline. Bring this up to like Hicho, right? So it's important that if that center line attack comes in, my first thing to be able to do is to get my complete body offline, right? So I want to be able to get offline, bring my hands up. So once they're up, this kick is coming out sideways. So I'm moving 45, 45. So it's 1, 2, right? So you see how the foot is like flat on a table. 1, 2, right? And pushing with that here, pushing with that. So it's, the foot's not this way here. It's turned out on an edge, right? When I'm pushing down, I'm attacking the outside of the knees. So the punch comes in, move, strike. Like that here. Attack comes in, move, strike. Being able to do that on both sides. Move, strike. Someone attacks, move, strike. Move, strike. Move, strike. So it's not this kind of like side kick. It's not a side kick at all. It's Sakuto Ken. Here, pushing, letting your body weight forward, pushing down into it. There. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Sakuto Ken. Next is Soki Ken. Soki Ken is striking from the kneecap down to where the toes are. So the top of the foot and the shin, that whole area. Maybe where you'd see like a catcher wearing the shin guards, where a part comes down over top of the toes as well. So this is the top part of the foot, kind of where the toes and the foot join together. From that point up to just under the kneecap. That whole area there is called Soki Ken. Basically using your shin. This kick is going to be delivered to the lower ribs. Generally, if the punch is coming in, I'm going to move to the outside and attack the forward with the weight coming forward and the kick coming forward, those two meeting, trying to break some of those lower ribs with this kick. To practice it on your own, you could be in kamae, and when the punch comes in, just stepping offline again. You're going to hear this pattern over and over and over. Always moving offline. In case it's a bullet or a knife or a sword or a baseball bat or a piece of glass, whatever it is, you want to be off whatever they're trying to attack. If they're trying to attack my body here, I need to get my body someplace else. Keep it that simple. As that attack comes in from kamae, I'm going to move myself offline. Get my hands up in a defensive position and then bring that back shin in for that kick. Right? So in kamae, basically 1, 2, right? Like that. Right? If I was a little bit closer, maybe from shizen, I move, kick, there. Again, coming up, those lower ribs there. Move, kick. Okay. Move, kick. Not necessarily like a roundhouse kick. Some people, it looks like that. Maybe it is, but it's not like, I'm here and I'm like turning in. This is basically one movement off, just like we did for the Sakuto Ken. The first move is the same. I'm offline, the punch is out. Then the shin is pulled in, boom, and down you go. Here, move, kick. Move, kick. So simply just step, kick, be ready. Step, kick, be ready. Step, kick, be ready. Soki Ken. Greetings. The next section is on Kenjutsu. I have a pretty decent Kenjutsu basic video on YouTube. Please check that out. Also, the Go Gyo no Kata has its own video that's going to be able to help you as well. There's going to be a Kyon section that's coming out, that's been revamped, that's coming out soon as well. So there's a few things that are in this curriculum that there's some other videos that's going to help you. I'm just going to briefly touch on some of the kamae with the Kenjutsu. For the record, the two scrolls that we do in the United States Ninpo Academy is Kukishin Bikenjutsu and Togakureru Ninja Biken. Those are the two sword schools that we study. This is going to be more of a Kihon, basics, not specific to any of the Ruhas yet, just to give you some ideas of how to stand or whip the sword in proper kamaes. All right. So with a blade, you always take before you put it on, and you bow it in. Right? Blade facing you. Then, if you want to wear the blade, it goes in the belt. And the belt should be tight enough so it can actually hold the sword without it moving around. Again, refer to my other video as far as how to actually take and to remove the blade. From here, this goes behind the back. Right? The first kamae is known as Seigan no kamae. Seigan no kamae, your hands are like the Ichimonji, and this sword is straight out from your hip. So it's not out in front of you in any way. It's straight out in front of your hip. So basically, if I was in kamae and I had the sword on my hip, and then I would move it about one fist away, I would be in proper distance. The tip, or the kasaki, is my eye level, and or if I was an opponent, his eye level. So here, shoulders are down and relaxed. Kamae is here. This is Seigan no kamae. Seigan no kamae. Next is Ichi no kamae. Ichi no kamae is a situation where you're defending yourself from, say, Seigan, and someone was to come forward toward you. You would push this straighter into his eyes, here. So I'm in Seigan. He starts to move on me. Oh, hopefully he hits this. He attacks it. That's what I'm hoping toward. Seigan, Ichi no kamae. Straight forward. Kamae number one. Kamae number two. Kamae number one. Seigan. Ichi. Next is Chudan no kamae. Seigan. Bring it now horizontal to the ground, parallel to the ground. Here. This is section 7. This is the 7 cuts. This is the Kenjutsu sword basic cuts. There's going to be 7 cuts, and like the Go Gyo no Kata, these are done in a row to practice them and to learn them. There's 7 individual cuts that's performed in one kata. So, with a bokuto, which is a wooden version of a sword, we're going to start in Daijudan. And we're going to step backwards and step forward with every cut. There's 7 cuts. Step backwards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Come on. first one is straight down Daijodan. The next is Douji. So from here, I'm going to rise this up like a block. Come around and cut. Shift back, Tenchi. Step, cut. Shift back, step, cut. This time, as I shift back, bring the sword back behind. Step back, cut. Shift. Step back, cut. From here, pull back, cut. Step, come on. So, 1, stop at the knee. 2, 3, 4. Right here, just flip it back. 5, watch this. Flip it back. 6, step. 7, step back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Come on. That is the 7 cuts. This is section 8. These are the 5 blocks. So we just learned the 7 cuts. These are the 5 elementary basic blocks. Basically from Seidan, you want to be able to block what they call Migi Jodan, right upper level. Step with your left foot, turn the back of the blade to greet or to strike away the block. So if the strike is coming into my right, I'm going to step with my left. If the attack is coming into from the left side, I'm going to step with my right, turn the back of the blade to block against hopefully the thinnest part with the thickest part here. So this is basically moving this way and this way. It's not like coming down in any way. It's moving more like a windshield wiper in some ways, but there's a little bit of a pop to it. So when I'm blocking, it's actually striking. So I'm hitting it away, making that attack knock off angles. So Migi and Hidari, Migi is right, Hidari is left, Jodan is upper level. So upper right and upper left are the first 2. Migi Jodan, Hidari Jodan. Next is Migi Geidan, Hidari Geidan. Right, lower, left, lower. From here, as the attack comes in low, same thing, I'm going to move offline and drop down. So the hand, like a Geidan, drop down. Outside of my leg, back part of the blade, block. It's coming into the right, I'm moving my left. If it comes into my left, I'm going to move my right and drop and hit it down again, turning the blade. So, Migi Geidan, Hidari Geidan. Migi Geidan, Hidari Geidan. The next one is Jodan, attack from above. Seigan, basic way, whatever the back foot is, steps 45 degrees forward, and you lift, putting the back up. Here. This is coming above my head. So if I move to the left, here, right, here, left, here, right, here, right. So it's each, knee, so, Shi. Go. Come on. Sega. Ich. In. So. Shi. Go. I want to talk a little bit about the last two sections. The sections on how to wear a shinobi uniform and a modern military ghillie suit, and then the last section of On-Gyojutsu, which is starting in the shinobi principles. These two, if you notice in the manual, have an asterisk next to them. You'll also notice in your testing checklist that there's no space for an actual test for these two items. From this point moving forward, most of the cues will have what I call a essentials packet, and then it's going to have a non-essentials packet. The non-essentials packet is going to be a lot of things like this. How to wear a traditional shinobi uniform, which in many ways is outdated. How to wear a modern military ghillie suit. But again, in many ways, walking around in an urban environment doesn't make much sense. The main two principles here are dealing with camouflage. These things need to be taught on a one-on-one basis. Also, most of the major Japanese organizations do not have either shinobi principles or modern military principles in their Kyu curriculum. So since the rank is coming from Japan, from the Bujinkan, there's many things that are going to be taught to you in the United States Ninpo Academy. There's many things you're going to be exposed to, but the actual principles that you're going to be required to learn and to test are going to stay consistent around the world. There's a lot of things I have in my curriculum, like river crossing, land navigation, map reading, firearms training, firearms retention. There's different types of weapons like the kusarigama, and most of the major Japanese organizations may train in those aspects, but they don't generally make their Kyu students test on them. So I'm going to expose you to all of these principles so you're aware of them, you have the basics, but it's going to be difficult in many cases for remote students to be able to train in, say, underwater techniques, or being out in the woods and camouflage techniques, or kusarigama, or some of the other things like herbs, medicines, and poisons. Some of these things are just going to have to be taught through one-on-one interaction, or through emails or FaceTime, or just me coming to your school and helping you learn these principles. So the essential package is something that you're going to be required to learn, to test, and to film, and to send back to me. The non-essential things are something that I need you to experiment with. I want you to play with them. I want you to try to do some self-education, get yourself familiar with them. I'm going to be able to help you step by step through seminars, and then once your group gets large enough to be able to come out to you, to be able to teach you these things one-on-one. So as you move forward in the book, you're going to see the essentials that are going to have a testing score, the non-essentials, you don't even have a block there for a testing score at all. Those things are still taught, but they're not actually tested on. The essential packet is taught and must be filmed and sent back to me. If you have any questions, please feel free to talk to me about that, but the essential package is really what we need to do, and that's what we filmed so far. So this is QQ, 9th Kyu, Yellow Belt of the United States Ninpo curriculum. Thank you very much.
Hey!